It's time to get started. First of all, I'm Christopher Hoddle, Superintendent of Schools, and you're all of our 6th graders. I can't tell you how proud we are in the Nashua School District to have you here today for a culminating concert by the Nashua Symphony. I know that it's not every day that Elm Street Middle School or Fairgrounds or Pennachuck or any middle school in the state or in the country gets to hear a real live symphony orchestra performing for you. This is a culmination of visits that have been made to each of the middle schools by the Nashua Symphony to introduce you to symphonic music, to the music of Ludwig van Beethoven. It's probably not something we hear every day. It's not something that our iTunes store sends down to us over the internet every day. But I know that you've experienced this now, and you have a little bit of an understanding, and maybe some of you a lot of understanding, of what goes into making a symphony orchestra. We're very, very proud and lucky in Nashua to have our own symphony orchestra. The Nashua Symphony, which is an old and venerable institution, this year with a new conductor has an entirely new program, new programming, and is reaching out to the community and to the region to provide us with symphonic music and music of our contemporary times. I know that you know that music plays a big role in your lives, plays a big role in all of our lives. The more we can understand about it, the more we understand about different cultures. So on behalf of the Nashua School District, all of our schools, on behalf of the principals and the staff of each of our middle schools, I want to welcome you, and I want to welcome the Nashua Symphony. And I want to particularly mention Eric Vallier, who is in charge of the symphony, and also, particularly, you're going to see stepping out now, the new conductor. Nashua did a nationwide search for a new conductor at the beginning of this season. And they found, I know you already know, an excellent conductor and communicator to be the music director of the Nashua Symphony. And that conductor is Jonathan McPhee. So I'd like to welcome the Nashua Symphony.
Good morning. What we're going to do is, to start out with, we have a tradition. When you come to the concert, the first person you will see is actually the concertmaster, who leads the entire string section. And this is Elliot Marco. He'll come out and tune the orchestra. So we'll start right there. Now this is the concert, and twice we came to all of your schools. We did programs that you were interacting with us. One was on the Coriolan Overture, which you're now going to hear in its entirety now, followed by Beethoven's 6th Symphony. We're not playing the entire 6th Symphony, we're doing the 4 movements that we talked about in your schools. Now this is a very special thing. This is the first time in 20 years that the orchestra has actually done a program with you. And actually, I want to thank all the people who've made this possible, because it's a lot of work, it takes a lot of resources. We actually have a state representative here, I heard, Edith Hogan, who, yes, very nice to see you. And that doesn't happen every day either, so you know that people care about your education and what you're going to see. Now, just to recap, these 2 pieces, one of them starts with a piece of literature. Remember the Shakespeare play, Coriolan? And instead of going through the entire story with you, because I'm sure you remember that, I'm just going to identify 3 key features first with the orchestra. The first one is, remember Coriolan, who's just been exiled from Rome, is angry. Now I had 5 people with me last time to show you what angry sounds like in Beethoven's mind. Here's the whole orchestra. Little different. Okay, next, Coriolan's got his own theme. So every time this theme comes back, we know Coriolan is on stage, so to speak, and thinking. So here's his theme. And you know he's a powerful man, and you know he's thinking. Now he's sworn, when he got exiled from Rome, to come back and destroy Rome. And he made a deal with the army that would love to take Rome over, the Volscians. And he's declared, we're going to take the Volscians, march into Rome, and conquer Rome. His mother is the one that says, that's wrong, you can't do them. You can't do that. Of course Rome was wrong to send you out. But this isn't the way to solve it. So Volumnia, his mother, has got her theme. Okay. And she pleads, and that's why it's this very lyrical line, and she pleads with him, please don't do this. It happens 3 times. The last time, each time he breaks off in anger, no, I know what I'm going to do, march to Rome. The last time, there's doubt, and you'll hear the orchestra just as we played the little excerpts in school. It goes up, and then there's a space as he doubts that that's the right course of action. Now remember, he was caught in that catch-22. He made the deal with the Volscians to deliver Rome. If he doesn't do that, he's broken his word to the Volscians. On the other hand, if he conquers Rome and hands Rome over to the Volscians, he's defied his mother. So he's caught in a very, it's a non-win. You don't want to mess with your mother, right? Yes. And in the end, we realized that the only way he could avoid this was not to conquer Rome. And the last few things that we hear are his own heartbeat as he dies. So, very dramatic story, full opera in about 12 minutes with no singers. Here we go, Coriolan. So now you get to see with the full power of the orchestra behind you how Beethoven took a story that existed and translated it into music. We could see each character, we could see what they were thinking, we could see the action, and we knew in the end what the tragic ending was. Now, actually, on the internet today, they did a survey to find out what the most downloaded piece of music or pieces of music were in the entire world. And of course, you know, some people in my generation would have said the Beatles. Your generation would have said something totally different. But guess who the three top pieces downloaded internationally are? Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and Beethoven's Sixth Symphony. All ages, from your age up to very, very senior people. So it's very popular. So, what we're going to do today, we looked at elements of each movement. What I'm going to do is just remind you of each element to look for in the movements. We are playing the entire movements. We only played little sections when we came out to the schools because we didn't have enough musicians to be able to do more than that. First movement, and this is the example of Beethoven walking out in the countryside, seeing nature around him. It's the only piece of music, if you remember, where he actually made a piece of music that represents what he was seeing as he was walking through the woods. So remember the first scene, the first movement is Beethoven walking out, and you start to hear sounds of trees and leaves and wind blowing a little bit, but it's a feeling that you get. He'd get out of the city and he'd walk out, and so that first movement, which you do have programs, I think. Yeah. Awakening of cheerful feelings when arriving in the country. So obviously it's going to feel very serene. So here's the first movement. second movement. Everyone, can I have your attention, please? One thing that impressed me about all the schools when the musicians and I came to your schools was how quiet you were. And when you go to the movies, how many people go to the movies? Okay. They have those annoying little things at the beginning that shoot off cell phones and they say, please be respectful for those around you, right? And when I was out in your schools, one of the things that I told you, you're all used to being able to put in a DVD of your favorite movie or TV show. And you're all used to maybe putting in a CD with your music. And you can talk over that, and you can do all kinds of things over that, and you know what? Your CD and DVD doesn't care, because they're totally unaware of you. They're mechanical. What they do is always the same. Part of going to a live performance is plugging into what we do. And as I said in the schools, you're very important to us, because we on stage are completely aware of what you're doing. And we can tell if you're listening because it gets very quiet. And then we can almost hear your minds going, oh, listen to that. There's an instrument doing something that I haven't heard before, and I need to follow that. On the other hand, when you've got some people trying to listen and some people who are talking louder and louder, and then I get the shh, shh, it makes it very hard for us to be able to play the music for you to enjoy it. So I just wanted to mention that. We got a couple more movements. We've got the scene by the brook, and it's very quiet. And if you remember what happens at the end of the brook, we had Beethoven came past the brook, and he ran into the birds, right? We had the quail, and we had the yellowhammer, and anybody else remember another one?
I have a question. Will there be other questions like after?
Questions at the end of it if we get it, so hold on to it. And if we miss it, I'll come down and get your question afterwards. Okay. So, this is the scene by the brook. Okay, now, for a total change in mood, Beethoven walked through the woods, and he walked past the brook, and remember when I said he came down? Remember when I said he came down and he walked into his favorite pub? And in the pub he found a couple of guys who used to play instruments. One of them was a little tipsy, and he was the oboe represented here, which is why we get that, it feels a little off from everybody else. But it's a real sort of, country folk, down, dance kind of thing. And then we're going to go we're going to play one more short movement after that you did not hear, and that's the storm, and we'll stop right there. All right? So we're going to do back-to-back, the trip to the pub, with all the personalities. Each instrument in the winds is a particular personality, and the strings are the boisterous ones. And then we go from there into the storm in the woods. And before we wrap this up, just that obviously, that's the storm that we couldn't play because with 5 people it just wouldn't work. And if you notice, Beethoven added a couple of instruments to give a little more emphasis. Jeffrey on timpani there. Jeff, do you want to just give us a bang on the tip? Great thunder. We added the piccolo, which gives us that brilliance when the lightning flashes. You want to just give us a lick? Chip. There we go. And trombones. You want to stand up? He saves the trombones until now, and then they continue in the next movement. And they just add some good brass bottom to it. Now we had all of our birds. Can we have all of our birds stand up here? We had flute, oboe, clarinet, and then, yes, okay. And French horns in the back. You want to stand up? They, of course, gave us our wait in the pub, so that we have a little oh in the bottom there. I'd like to have the whole orchestra stand. Doing something like this for you is very, very special, and we appreciate the fact that you've been a terrific audience. We would like to say thank you for coming today and applaud you as well.